Welcome to the Lessons Learned for Vets podcast page. My name is Lori Norris, and I created this show for you. I want this show to serve as a source of advice and guidance as you navigate the military transition path. I want you to know that you're not alone with what you're going through, and I want you to know that there is only one right way to transition out of the military, and that is the way that you choose to do it. We're just here to help smooth the path ahead of you and advise you about any bumps in the road that you might come across. So if you enjoy this video, please give us a like, subscribe to our page, and I encourage you to go to your favorite podcast provider and listen to the full episode of this show. You can also visit our website at www.ll4vets.com. I promise you will get some great information. What role do you think certifications play for veterans in transition?
I think certifications are huge, right? And there's obviously I'm a huge on, PMP, Lean Six, and Agile. Why? Because my company teaches those, but we teach them because I truly believe in what that does for you, right? And so we talked about language barriers. I think showing up as a certified professional really bridges the perception divide when you're dealing with companies who don't really understand what veterans are. But when you show up, again, wearing the badges and tabs of industry, you create an instant credibility bond there. Certifications from a marketability perspective are huge. And marketability I define as being externally findable and attractive. From relatability and relational credibility, I think they're huge. I learned not from my first company, but my customers, that when I walked on the job site as a certified project manager, their project managers immediately could walk up to me with confidence. And there was no question because of how old I was or what I had done in the past. It was, you're a PMP, I'm a PMP, we're good, right? And that was an immediate acceptance criteria in the project manager space. Again, within certain companies, my customers really valued that I was a PMP, could immediately talk to me in language that I understood, and I could talk to them in a language they understood, and we could strategize together, right? So, again, there's the marketability piece. There's the relational branding and credibility piece that provides. There's the internal confidence in the interview, right? That when you show up and you're being asked, hey, why should I consider you for this role in said profession? And you're like, I'm a licensed or certified professional in that profession, and I have so many years of doing it, right? It's a different conversation than trying to translate or justify why your experience is equivalent to something else, right? So I think there's a huge component in that regard. And then the last thing, like why I'm hugely passionate on project management, is the value I think you bring to the table, right? So everything in the business world is project driven. It's profit driven. Understanding project management, whether you want to be a PM or an ops manager or a consultant or an analyst, right? What you're doing is essentially going to be tied to some contract or a profit margin that has some deliverable tied to it. So if I understand business better as a veteran in transition, right, through what profit and loss is and earned value management, other concepts, then I'm able to be a better teammate for the project manager I'm working for the boss I'm going to work for, which will add value to my capability as an employee. Right now, it doesn't guarantee marketability. It doesn't guarantee they're going to pay you more money, but you can know going in that I have a lot more to contribute than simply military leadership and discipline and flexibility and adaptability. Like, no, I have skills to make me more effective as a teammate and as an employee. So again, even beyond that, like if I'm learning about cyber or Amazon cloud or architectures or other things, like, hey, and the company I'm dealing with has a touch in this field, I can show up and have conversations from developers to engineers to PMs to other people and say, look, I can relate to you. I can talk with you. I know something about what you're doing outside of just what the military taught me. Granted, in some MOSs, again, like the communications world, it's great. You learn, Sec Plus and CompTIA and all these other certs that are woven into some of those career paths. But for your infantry, for the other guys that are more kinetic, I think it's a harder bridge. Yet, what we're teaching in certifications builds on military leadership, and project management enhances and supports everything we're trying to teach in the military. It makes you more effective now. And then it creates those job opportunities in the future, right? It creates credibility, and it takes off some of that, I don't really know what I'm worth or how to talk or how to relate burden on the outside. So again, I like project management, but the same effect applies multiple licenses, multiple certifications. But caveat, not all certs are credible. Not all certs matter, right? There are some leadership certs out there that I think what you learn add value to you, but have zero marketability. Again, the closer you get to transition, make sure that the jobs you're going after, if you're upgrading your weapon system, make sure you're upgrading with known intent based on what the company says you need to have to become marketable for that company. But the farther out you are, go pursue intellectual curiosity, right? Take a class in said certification and see if you even liked it. Because I guarantee if you took training in the certification and you're like, that was miserable, the job field that certification is tied to will probably be miserable for you.
Give us just some quick tips on how you leverage LinkedIn to help you further your career.
Yeah, first and foremost, have a decent headshot, right? What you smiling, like what smiles are so important. And I think having a decent headshot, having a photo up there. I mean, I work in Microsoft. Microsoft owns LinkedIn. Everybody looks at LinkedIn. That's the first thing they look in. So I'm gonna tell you guys right off the bat, fix your headshot, make sure your LinkedIn looks good because employers are looking. If you're not on LinkedIn, get on LinkedIn because that's where we're moving to. That's the new platform that people are sourcing talent. So if you're not there, you're behind the wheel. If you're transitioning out the military 2 years, 3 years from now, get on LinkedIn now and start building your network. Don't wait until, I'm gonna get out, I'm gonna start transitioning. Your transition period should be 2 to 3 years out. You should have a job set up for you to get out. And there's a lot of jobs out there that are looking for good talent like yourself. But for me, it's all about, I'm always thinking like, I want people to know who I am more than what I do. I want people to know who I am as an individual. What's my core priority? So if you looked at my LinkedIn profile, I show a little taste of everything, right? I show like my inspirational speaking. I show my motivator. I show that I'm a retired MMA fighter. I want myself to stand out and be interesting to the market, but I want to show who I am. I think what happens over time, people get so committed to these organizations and they become that organization. You have to be who you are. You have to be your brand within the organization. You're not the organization. So I'd like to separate myself from Microsoft, like who I am as a person, because at the end of the day, I'm in sales. People buy from people. People buy from good people. People buy from people that are passionate to what they're trying to achieve, right? And you're going to help them achieve those goals. So for me, I work in state and local government, and I'm extremely passionate. So I try to show my passion for what I do and why I do it, and for those government people also, because they're just like us, military veterans. They're servants. A lot of times they don't get paid a lot of money. So what they're doing because they love what they do. They're trying to make an impact. So I try to make that connection there. But just, I think for one, you really want to brand yourself to who you are, but being professional at the same time, and really start to reach out, get out of your comfort zone, start to connect with people, start to have authentic conversations with nothing in mind. Like, I think a lot of times we go to people and we have something in mind that we're trying to take away, right? And I think it's okay to have an agenda, but don't look for something. Don't just reach out to people every time you need something. I see people posting. The only time they post is when they need a job or when they're trying to reach out to somebody because they need a job. It's like, I haven't seen you your whole life, but you come to me with your hand out. It doesn't work like that. You have to provide value to the marketplace. You have to provide value, and then you ask. But if you're not providing value, then you haven't even earned the right to ask, right? And so I'm big about like, how can I give back? So I'm constantly posting these inspirational, motivational type of messages. And it's just who I am, right? I don't expect anything in return, but I know because I'm giving. If I did ask for something, I know people will come and help me. So that's kind of how I use LinkedIn. I use it more of it as an authentic way to connect with people with really no outcomes in mind. Just trying to connect with people and have genuine conversations like the one we're having right now, right? Yeah.
Coming from a place of experience and from people close to me, what are some of the ways that people can regain or relearn their worth after being told that they don't mean anything? Like how can we know our worth when our worth is just a number?
So first and foremost, like anybody that has ever told you that you don't have worth or value is full of shit. Period. Anyone that's ever said that to you was simply didn't know how to help you. They put you down to make themselves feel better. Like everybody out there listening was put on this earth for a purpose. You just haven't found it yet, possibly. There are people that care about you, that see your value, that see that worth. Like you make the world a better place, period. Full stop. Don't need to say anything else about that, but I'm gonna. So I do want you to know that, like really, truly, like we are meaner to ourselves in our head than anyone else could ever be. And if someone told you some BS that you're not worth something, why would you repeat that lie to yourself? Tell yourself the truth of what you're worth. And I feel like that what we talked about in the last one with, the concentric circles and really starting to think about like who you are, I feel like that can help you learn that value, that worth. But I really want you to think about doing an assessment of your skills, right? So we all have skills. And I want you to just sit down with a piece of paper. And I want you to just start writing everything you know how to do. And I don't care if it's one of those skills is typing or, creating a Word document, something so basic. Write it down. And I want you to just think about, like, what did you do for the last day? Okay, how about the last week? How about the last month? How about the last year? And start thinking about, like, just brain dump all of those skills on a big pad of paper. Type it in a Word doc, whatever you need to do. And then I want you to go, once you get it all out and you can't think of anything else, I want you to go through and I want you to cross through the skills you never want to use again. There are some skills that I have that I don't want to do. And so put a line through the ones you don't want to do, right? So leave behind the stuff that you're good at and you enjoy. And then I want you to write a story or an example next to each of those skills that you left that aren't crossed out. Write a story that showcases a situation where you use that skill to be of benefit to a teammate, an organization, where it added value to your military team, where it made a difference for you or someone else. So start writing out those stories. And I hear this from people all the time. I don't have any accomplishments. I just fill in the blanks, right? So I want you to get rid of the word just from your vocabulary. You didn't just anything. And tell me what you did, right? Without that justifier word of, well, I just, so you've got to throw that out. And so that's I think one of the ways where you can really sit down and start to say oh, I do have a lot of skills. I used to teach this process to, through the Maricopa Workforce Connections here in Arizona. And I had a guy once that sat down and did this list, and he told me he was going to go home and sleep with it under his pillow because he had no idea all of the things he was good at. And it just made him feel so much more confident in himself. And I promise you that it will make you feel the same way. And you can't go into it with this is going to suck. This is going to take forever. This is stupid. Go into it saying, okay, I need to help an employer understand who I am and what I can do for them. And really just put it all down and keep going until you can't think of anything else. We were going to talk about Veterans Upward Bound, who you work for. Give me a little bit more insight into the organization. You said they provide tutoring. They have kind of transition support, transitioning from military to education. Tell us a little bit more about the company and some of the services that it offers.
So it's actually federally funded. So it's a part of the Department of Education under a program called TRIO. The point of TRIO was to get out and serve the underserved and underprivileged communities to whom college doesn't seem like it's within their grasp. And it was created in response to the civil rights movement that was going on in the 1960s. In 1970, the Department of Ed realized that they've got another underserved population that's got some problems accessing college, and those were Vietnam veterans. And so Veterans Upward Bound was started, and the purpose is to reach out to veterans and find out what their obstacles are. Because when you're talking about somebody that's in a low income bracket, a lot of times money is an object. And, with veterans, that may or may not be the issue. It may be a lot of them suffer from TBIs or traumatic brain injuries that make learning a little bit more difficult. And so what those people need in that case is an advocate, or it can be somebody that's got unstable living conditions and they need a little bit of help establishing their base needs before they can go and reach for those higher education goals that they have for themselves. So it can really look like a lot of things. Sometimes it's just a little bit vague what you're supposed to do when you get into a college, because you come from this environment where everything is laid out in black and white. You do this, then you do this, but then you do this. There is no gray area. You know exactly where to go. These are your orders. These are the people you're going to talk to. They're squared away. They know what's going on. You get to college and they're like, yeah, look at our website. It'll tell you everything you need. And those websites are not always navigable. And neither is the website where you go to apply for your GI Bill. Oh my God. It's kind of like, I don't even know. I mean, it's definitely, you're definitely familiar with the hurry up and wait game. We've done that all through our military careers. We kind of take a lot of that guesswork out for you. We kind of cut through the spider webs to get you straight to the core of what it is that you need. And we walk along beside you on that journey, so you're not doing it alone.
Hey, thank you for watching the video today. Have you subscribed to our channel yet? Did you leave us a comment? Have you listened to the full episode of the podcast on your favorite podcast provider? We sure would appreciate it if you would do all of these things to support us today.